Hello viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. Get ready for heart-touching stories. Don't forget to subscribe and let's begin.
The 3 p.m. text them message had been sitting on read for 6 hours. Maya Chen stared at her phone screen, watching the little timestamp beneath her text grow older by the minute. Flight lands at 3 p.m. tomorrow. Can't wait to see everyone. It's been too long. Read 3 words back from her sister Lily, I'll be there, followed by a string of heart emojis that somehow made the silence from everyone else feel louder. She was 31 years old, sitting in a cramped window seat somewhere over the Midwest, watching clouds dissolve beneath her like spilled milk. And she was doing the math the way she always did, the embarrassing, compulsive arithmetic of who responded and who didn't. Mom, nothing. Dad, nothing. Her brother Kevin, nothing. Her Aunt Rosa, who had added herself to the family chat 3 years ago and used it exclusively to forward chain messages about the Virgin Mary. Nothing, just Lily. Loyal, punctual, slightly frantic Lily, who had probably already mapped the airport parking situation and was likely, at this very moment, deciding which snack to bring for the drive home. Maya put her phone face down on the tray table and looked out the window. She had moved to Seattle 4 years ago for a job at an architecture firm that turned out to be less visionary design and more municipal parking structures. But she'd stayed because Seattle had a way of growing on you like moss, quietly, persistently, until you looked down one day and realized it had covered everything. She had friends there. A good apartment with north-facing windows that filled with gray light she'd come to love. A cat named Douglas who hated everyone except her and inexplicably her mailman. Home was Sacramento. A 3-bedroom house on a cul-de-sac with a liquid amber tree in the front yard that her father had planted the year she was born. It was the kind of house that looked exactly the same every time she visited, which should have been comforting and sometimes was and sometimes felt like a verdict. The visits had grown shorter over the years. Not because of any single argument or falling out, nothing so clean as that, more like water finding its level. Everyone was busy. Everyone had their own version of a life that didn't pause when she wasn't there to witness it, and she supposed hers didn't pause either. Her mother had her church groups and her ceramics class. Her father had the garage, which he was perpetually organizing in a project that had now spanned 11 years. Kevin had his wife, Sandra, and their 2 kids, who were 4 and 6 and apparently required the full cognitive resources of every adult within a 20-mile radius. They loved each other. Maya was certain of this the way she was certain of things she couldn't quite prove by feel, by the accumulated evidence of childhood, by the fact that her mother still mailed her birthday cards with a check inside even though Maya had asked her 3 times to just Venmo her. But the group chat sat there unresponsive and the clouds kept dissolving and Maya kept doing the math. The landing was bumpy. The kind where the wheels bounce once and several passengers audibly gasp and a child near the back starts crying, and you grip your armrest and think, briefly and without drama, about everything you haven't said to the people you love. Maya's list was longer than she expected. By the time she cleared baggage claim, her suitcase was the last one out, naturally rotating alone on the carousel like a rejected contestant. She had composed and deleted 3 texts to the family chat. The first was breezy, landed, on my way. The second was pointed, heading to the house now, hope everyone's around. The third was the dangerous kind, the kind you type when you're tired and your shoulder hurts from the carry-on and you've been in recycled air for 2.5 hours. Would have been nice to hear from more than one person, but okay, she deleted that one before it could become a problem. Outside, the Sacramento afternoon was doing what Sacramento afternoons in October did, golden and warm and faintly smoky from somewhere far away. The sky, that particular shade of blue that doesn't exist in Seattle, a color she'd stopped being able to name after years of Pacific Northwest gray. She stood on the curb with her suitcase and felt, despite everything, the specific relief of being somewhere that knew her. Lily's car appeared before Maya had finished the thought, a battered green Prius with a dent in the passenger door from an incident involving a shopping cart that Lily had been meaning to get fixed since 2021. Lily herself burst out of the driver's side before the car had fully stopped, which was technically illegal, and wrapped both arms around Maya so hard that Maya's neck cracked. Here, Lily said, muffled against Maya's shoulder. I'm here. They stayed like that for a moment, 2 women in their 30s standing on an airport curb while a security guard began migrating toward them with purpose, holding onto each other like the 4 years hadn't happened and also like they had. Nobody else texted back, Maya said. Lily pulled away and made a face, not a dismissive face, not a you're overreacting face, but the particular face she'd been making since they were children, the one that meant I know and I'm sorry and also I have context. Mom's phone has been doing that thing again where it doesn't give her notifications. She could check it manually. You know, she doesn't think to do that. Dad could check his. Dad thinks the group chat is called the family app and he's still not sure how he got on it. Maya laughed despite herself. And Kevin, Lily hesitated, which was its own kind of answer. Kevin's just, she started. Kevin's just Kevin. Sandra's mom is in town. It's a whole thing. It's always a whole thing. I know. Security guard arrived. They got in the car. The drive from Sacramento Executive Airport to the house on the cul-de-sac took 23 minutes without traffic and 38 with it. And they hid it because of course they did, backed up behind a fender bender on exposition that had everyone slowing to observe the damage with the solemn attention people reserve for minor disasters that aren't their own. Lily talked the whole way she always did when she was nervous, not empty talk, but the useful kind, the kind that laid the groundwork. Their mother had recently taken up sourdough. Their father had finally, after 11 years, declared the garage done, which mostly meant he'd bought a label maker and labeled everything, including a box labeled miscellaneous and another one labeled things to go through later. Kevin and Sandra were trying for a third, which wasn't public knowledge, but Lily had overheard a phone call, and she said this with the guilty excitement of someone who hadn't meant to know a secret but was very glad she did. Maya listened and watched Sacramento move past the windows. Strip malls that had been there her whole life. A high school she'd never attended but whose parking lot she'd once cried in after a boy named Brendan said something unkind at a party. A Vietnamese restaurant where her family used to go for pho on Sunday mornings when she was small. Her father ordering in his careful, self-taught Vietnamese that made the waitstaff smile with a warmth that she'd understood even then was about more than just the order. "Are you okay?" Lily asked, at a red light. "I'm fine." "You've got your face on." "Don't have a face. You have a face, you've had it since I picked you up." Lily glanced over. "Is it the text thing?" Maya considered lying. "A little. They love you, you know." "I know. It's not, it doesn't mean anything that they didn't respond. You know how they are." "I know how they are," Maya agreed, and she did. She knew that her mother's relationship with technology was one of mutual suspicion. She knew that her father operated on a need-to-know basis and considered most communication optional. She knew that Kevin was underwater in a life that had gotten bigger and more demanding than he'd probably anticipated, and that love in their family had always been something you inferred more than stated. She knew all of this. She had explained it to herself on the plane in the baggage claim on the curb. She had been patient and reasonable and adult about it. It still stung. That was the part she didn't say out loud. The house looked the same, liquid amber tree. A little taller maybe or maybe not, trees played tricks. Her mother's wind chime on the porch, the one made of blue glass that had been there since Maya was 9. Her father's truck in the driveway, which meant he was home, which meant he'd known she was coming and had chosen the truck in the garage over the airport. And then the front door opened before she'd reached the porch. Her mother stood in the doorway, looking smaller than Maya remembered and exactly the same size, which was a paradox she'd stopped trying to solve. She was wearing an apron. She always seemed to be wearing an apron, and her hair was shorter than the last time, and her face did the thing it always did when she saw Maya. This involuntary softening, this helpless brightness that Maya had grown up taking for granted and now recognized as what it was. "Aya, why didn't you tell us the flight time sooner?" Her mother said, which was not "I missed you" or "I'm so glad you're home," but was, Maya had learned over 31 years, the same thing. "I texted the family chat, Mom. My phone has been not giving you notifications, I know." Her mother pulled her inside with both hands. The house smelled like garlic and sesame oil and something sweet underneath that turned out to be the sourdough, 2 golden loaves cooling on the kitchen counter. Her father appeared from the hallway looking mildly surprised, the way he always looked, as if her arrivals were pleasant but unexpected regardless of how many times they occurred. "Here," he said. "Hi, Dad." He patted her on the shoulder twice firmly, the way he'd been greeting her since she was old enough for handshakes, and then nodded toward the kitchen. "Your mother made soup. Can smell it. Started it at 6 this morning." Maya looked at her mother, who was already moving toward the stove, already lifting the lid on a pot that had apparently been going for 9 hours, as if 9 hours of soup was a perfectly ordinary thing to do on a Tuesday. As if the soup did not constitute, in its patient and fragrant way, its own form of message, one that didn't require a read receipt. Kevin arrived at 6:30 with Sandra and the kids, who erupted through the front door like small, joyful grenades. The 4-year-old Mia had recently developed a passion for telling people what animals they resembled, and she studied Maya for a long moment before pronouncing her a big rabbit, which Maya decided to take as a compliment. Kevin hugged her. Not a long hug. Kevin wasn't a long hug person, but a real one, both arms, one solid clap on the back. "Sorry I didn't text back," he said into her shoulder. She pulled away and looked at him. He was tired. She could see it the way you see it in people you've known long enough, the kind of tired that isn't about last night's sleep, but about the accumulated weight of days that keep coming before you've finished with the previous one. "It's fine," she said. "Sandra's mom, Lily told me." "It's fine, Kev, really." He nodded. Something moved across his face that she recognized as relief, and also something older, something that might have been the same arithmetic she'd been doing. Who calls, who shows up, who reaches across the distance, and how often, and what it costs. "She made soup," he said. 9 hours. "Does that?" "I know she does." They stood in the hallway of their parents' house, while somewhere behind them, their mother issued instructions in a mix of Cantonese and English, and Sandra laughed at something Lily said, and their father tried to explain to Mia why she couldn't have soup and crackers and also the bread, and the 6-year-old Danny wrapped himself around Maya's leg like a barnacle, and the house was loud with all of it. Later, after dinner, Maya sat on the back porch with Lily. The Sacramento night was warm, still smoky at the edges, the sky doing its amber and violet thing above the neighbor's eucalyptus tree. They had cups of tea. Douglas the cat was at her apartment in Seattle, presumably terrifying the pet sitter. Better? Lily asked. Maya considered the question honestly. Her feet were up on the railing. Her stomach was full of soup and bread and the specific satisfaction of a meal made with premeditated love. Inside, she could hear her mother singing something under her breath while she wrapped up leftovers. The text thing is stupid, she said. I know it's stupid. It's not stupid. It is though it's a text. I'm not 12. You wanted them to be excited, Lily said. That's not stupid. That's just wanting things from people you love. That's the whole deal, isn't it? The whole thing. Maya drank her tea. I think I forget, she said slowly. When I'm far away, I forget how they show it. I replace them with these simpler versions in my head. Versions that are easier to want things from, and then I come back and they're complicated again. Complicated like 9 hours of soup. Yeah, she smiled. Complicated like that. Eucalyptus moved in a small wind. Inside, her father laughed at something Kevin said, a genuine laugh surprised out of him, and she could picture his face from here. Her phone lit up on the armrest. The family chat. Her mother had sent a photo, blurry, slightly tilted, thumb partially over the lens of the dinner table from earlier, full of people and dishes lit orange by the kitchen light. Below it, her mother had typed, with what Maya could only imagine had been painstaking effort. Good to have everyone home, smiling face with smiling eyes. Then her father, unexpectedly, improbably. Yes, then Kevin. Mia says Maya is a big rabbit. She means it nicely. I think Maya laughed out loud, alone on the porch in the warm October night, laughing at her phone like a person who had forgot, for a few hours somewhere over the Midwest, what she actually already knew. She typed back, tell me I'll take it. Then, after a moment, good to be home. Read this time, she didn't watch to see who read it.